Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We welcome you, whatever time and wherever in the world you are listening. We are pleased you have found us. You are now listening to Inside the Bunghole, a podcast taking you on a journey through wine. Together, we will learn more about this wonderful elixir of life. So raise your glass to welcome your hosts and partners in wine, Pam and James. You are now inside the Bunghole.
Well, it's that time again. We are here with another exciting episode of Inside the Bunghole. This one's long overdue. We've been talking to Herman from Lafay since the very beginning of our podcast adventures. We're here with me, Pam.
Don.
James. And our guests.
Herman from Lafay.
And we have a special secret guest star.
Brandon Alvarez.
Tell us who you are.
Yeah, so again, my name is Brandon. I grew up out here in the desert, and for the last few years, I've been wanting to make and create my own styles of wine that I can produce and distribute to our local restaurants, hotels, country clubs out here in the Coachella Valley. And finally got the finished product, and we just took it to market. And when I say we, it's just my wife and I took it to market about 5 months ago.
And it's excellent, by the way. We're
Thank
drinking
you,
your
thank
Chardonnay.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
And
thank you
congratulations, definitely in order. Chardonnay is what year?
That's going to be the 2021 that you're drinking. And in case you guys don't know, Camden is the name of the 3 wines that I just launched, and is named after my 1-year-old little girl.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
And it's produced in Monterey County.
In Monterey.
Nice. Well, we're going to get back to the wines. We are. We're going to revisit it as you do the wine tasting.
Yes.
But we are on beautiful El Paseo, Palm Desert.
Located at
California.
73900 El Paseo, Palm Desert, California, Lafay, the home of many great memories for the 3 of us, right?
Certainly, certainly.
You know, we're very excited to be here today with Herman Samaola. Is that
Samayoa.
Samaola, and then Richard Reyes is your business partner.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about what Lafay. What does Lafay mean?
So the Lafay actually means the faith. So we didn't plan on having that name. It just kind of worked out that way, which is great because it's a catchy name. Everybody, like, we developed the brand now, but it's everybody that comes in here and we explain the story, how we just sort of ended up with the faith, that La Fe. And when we tell them the story, they're like, it was meant to be. And I agree with them, actually.
So you've been here 2 years now, correct? 3 years?
No, more than that. We've been here for 5 years. And November 1st, 2022 was 5 years.
Amazing. Congratulations on your success. Take us back to when this was nothing more than just an empty unit.
So, at the time I had a job doing sales. I was comfortable doing it. I happened to stumble on to this place, and the person was trying to tell me to buy it. But I never wanted to get into this business, believe me. I was just like, no, it's too hard. There's a lot of moving pieces. I don't want to do it. So, but I mentioned it to Rich. I was just kind of curious, and I just threw it out there. I said, hey, look, there's a spot. It used to be Napa's Tap, which was a local spot that was really popular. So
So now you and Richard are just childhood friends?
we've been friends since, I think he was like 23, I was 21.
Okay.
So I'm 43 now, so it's been a long time.
So you bounce it off him?
Yeah, I throw the idea out there, but I'm kind of afraid, at the time. I'm afraid. I don't want to do it. So the person who was, I asked some questions, and then they were really persistent with us. So now it got serious when all these people were persistent for us to get the place. One thing led to another. The day that we had to sign the paperwork, right before I walked into the door, I said, you know what? I can't do this. And I turned back around and said, Rich, I cannot do this. And Rich says, we're going to do this. And he grabs me, he says, we're going to do this. We go inside, sign it. I mean, it hasn't been easy, but, here we are.
It hasn't been easy. You went through COVID. I know that when we first came in, you were beer and wine only.
Uh-huh.
And the kitchen is a working kitchen, but nothing fancy. Everything
It's very small.
And the menu, but the menu's beautiful. The menu's fresh. It's you have a lot of flatbreads. You have small plates, like at Napa's Tapas when they were here. And you guys have very quickly, through all the hard times, become one of the places to go, especially for locals here in Palm Desert.
I agree with that. Yeah, we developed the relationships. I mean, we had to try so hard to, when someone came in here, to keep them here and bring them back. So, you know, I feel like I'm a natural at doing that already, but, you know, we had to try a little harder because we were not the place to be. It wasn't a very good looking place. It wasn't
very small.
It was small. It was, you know, and we just kept trying. I said, because I've closed the business down before. You know, I was a mortgage broker before. And 2008 happened, and so I felt like a failure after that. But this time around, I said, there is nothing that's gonna stop me. There is nothing. And I had that mentality the whole time. We were on survival mode through COVID, through all the stuff that happened.
When you got your liquor license,
Yeah.
that was another thing that was supposed to take a few weeks and ended up taking
About a year.
months.
About a year. It took about a year.
It kind of reminds me of like two guys building a tree fort, you know. And you guys, even the tables, I know, are old, broken down wood wine crates, the tabletops, and now they're getting really old looking. They're nice.
They're aging just like the owners.
They're
aging. Fine wine.
Are you
And the patron.
Are you surprised how many people really love wine out here in the valley and the different age demographic?
I always knew, I mean, you know, to be honest, James, when the Third Corner left, Third Corner was my favorite place. I was there 5 days a week. You guys were there
Yes,
5 days a week. But we never really knew how much we love wine till that place came to the desert, you know, and so we all kind of fell in love with wine again after that place. And when they left, there was a void, and that's the reason why I started to get curious about opening up a wine bar. I wouldn't be here right now if it wasn't for Ed Moore and the Third Corner leaving, and I really love that place. I still continue to love Ed and what he's doing, and he's kind of been a mentor throughout this whole process with me. So.
Now, what kind of wines do you see in the desert tank that are you know, standards or popular that you have to carry?
Well, you know, in this desert we have like an older demographic, so Cabernet is by far the number one seller in this desert. I mean, Cabernet is the standard. We probably have more Cabernet by the glass than anything else, and also Chardonnay as well, Pinots. Those are the three that I actually think you have to be strong at that in your wine list, you know. And that's what Camden does. There's absolutely those three, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk about that. Well, listen, we're going to do a quick break, and we get back, I want to talk about a lot of the special things you do, like wine tastings, and you bring in some somms and distributors. So hang tight. We are here with, it's Armand, but I tend to always say his name wrong, don't I?
You got to roll more R's with my name. Herman.
So we'll be right back after a quick break and talk a little bit more.
If you want to know more about Inside the Bunghole, join us on all our social media platforms. You can get a revisit and view all the latest posts, giveaways, and information on this podcast. Simply search Inside the Bunghole on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. We would love to hear from you. Or you can email us at insidethebunghole@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in, and visit our website at insidethebunghole.buzzsprout.com, where you can always find our latest podcast and past episodes. Cheers!
Okay, welcome back, everybody. We're sitting here with Armand from Lafay, and we are talking about what has made this place a success. I know that James and I are frequent flyers at your wine tastings, and you have a vast majority. It runs the gamut. Some of the winemakers that are in town, Brandon and Joanne who we've interviewed at Dunham. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the wine tastings and what made you say, that's what we're going to do. We're going to have...
So I love going to wine tastings at wineries and everything else. And I always, you know, since we're a wine bar, I was telling myself I've got to do events where we create a wine culture in this town. I mean, there's a lot of wine drinkers, but there's not a wine culture. We've got people with a lot of money that love really fine wines, and so I decided to go in that direction. Started doing wine tastings, and little by little, my group started growing every single week, and I started doing eclectic wines, meaning small wineries. I started doing unknown names, and those would do great, but then I realized this town loves the names. They love the Frank family. They like the Camus, the Gergich. They like the Silver Oaks, and I like to do a little bit of everything. But as far as like in the business sense of it, those names do way better for my business. And so, but getting back to your point, we have developed this, and for every wine bar out there, I think they should develop a wine culture, because it's very beneficial to their business.
Well, and yours always, sometimes more so than other wine tastings, but there's always an element of education. You're always telling people a little bit about the wine or the region, or whatever the theme of the wine tasting is. There's always an element of educating.
Yeah. So I had to learn, educate myself on what people want when they do go to wine tasting. One of the most important things is education, absolutely. But don't leave people with an empty glass while they're waiting. Always have something in their glass, because while they're drinking, they're also listening to what is being provided to them.
And they're also a lot more likely to buy
wines
after
absolutely.
They've had about 6 or 7
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
So you do wine tastings once a week, twice a week?
So we do probably 3 weeks out of the month.
Okay.
Yeah, we do 3 weeks out of the month. Sometimes I skip after holidays, because people don't really like to attend these sort of things after a holiday or something. So I kind of planned around it. But I mean, it's like all friends showing up to a birthday party. You know what I'm saying? My email list keeps growing and growing and growing, and like I see people that are like, I want to sit in that spot, or I want to sit next to these people, or like it's like a community gathering. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, and you do have the community tables, which makes it very nice. And when you are here during a wine tasting, it is lively. And it is. It's like a big party, because a lot of these people know each other. They're friends. And they meet here and, do the wine tasting. Typically, you're open now 7 days a week.
Open 7 days a week? No.
You used to do the wine tastings on the days you weren't open.
Yeah.
And I imagine that you had some lingers, and I'm saying I'm probably guilty of that.
But but the reason I did that is because I wanted to come here and not feel like I was working.
Yeah.
And I thought because it's fun for me. I wouldn't be here right now if I didn't have a passion for wine. Like wine is, it's when we shared very good time, very good conversations, just like I did with Don like 30 minutes ago. Over glasses of wine, you tell your ideas, even some gossip, But
Yeah. How was it a leap? Were you nervous to sign on and expand, because you actually went into the next building over, or were you like?
Yeah, we're sitting in a building that was a Pilates studio,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
So you and Richard sat down and said, "Should we go for it? Should we do it? Or do you feel nervous? Like you don't.
That was kind of right after COVID.
It was right after COVID. I think at the time we were not nervous for doing it, because we had developed the brand. We had developed
A following.
following.
Yeah.
And so the place was starting to be too small for what it was, So in the place, I negotiated a good deal on the rent and everything else, and it just made sense. I mean, it just made sense, and I couldn't be happier about it. Now I'm looking forward to opening this as more of a wine shop, to do retail. And, and a lot of people have that concept. Third Corner has that concept. And I'm actually excited about it, because now you guys can come to the local wine shop and I can be here and make a connection with you and tell you, hey, this is what you like, James, because I know already what you like. So I'm going to guide you to the right bottle. You know what I'm saying? So,
Which brings us kind of full circle back to Camden. And tell me a little bit about your partnership. What's going on in your brain with this Camden brand?
So when I met Brandon, I knew his dad for a while. He's one of our wine reps, and he told me his son was developing his own brand, and I met him and I liked him and I liked what he was saying. I liked his wines. Everything about it was just kind of made sense. You know, it was good, and you know, we were buying his wines. He was coming in. We had a good relationship. And one day I just said, hey, you know what? Like, if we should maybe make our own wine one day, or, you know, be partners in Camden or whatever. So like a month later, he comes up to me and he says, you know, I got an idea. Why don't we develop our own label? And we've been working on it ever since. It's going to be called Más Vino, which means more wine. And it will be coming out soon.
That's going to be exciting.
Let's do a break and come right back and talk about it.
Okay, we'll be back in just a minute to find out a little bit more about Más Vino.
If you want to know more about Inside the Bunghole, join us on all our social media platforms. You can get a revisit and view all the latest posts, giveaways, and information on this podcast. Simply search Inside the Bunghole on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. We would love to hear from you. Or you can email us at insidethebunghole@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in, and visit our website at insidethebunghole.buzzsprout.com, where you can always find our latest podcast and past episodes. Cheers!
All right, so we're back, and we just left off with Más Vino. So we want to talk a little bit about that new project that you have brewing right now.
So Más Vino, so we're both Hispanic, so we decided to go with a Hispanic name. You know, today I read an article in the LA Times about all the Hispanic wineries. There's about 42 Mexican-American wineries in California now. Or take or give.
Owned by Mexican-Americans?
Yeah. And then they were giving some statistics that Latinos in America are consuming about 46 million cases of wine a year.
Wow.
In America.
Where are tequila sales?
So that market is growing, you know, and these people, you know, they have a good story because immigrants are the ones picking all the grapes.
So Brandon said, I know how to do this. I've been here. I've done this. And what is it? You guys talked about your own notes, putting it together and your own taste?
Yeah.
So how did that work out?
Yeah, so after working on this project with Camden, it took a while to get to this point, right? Actually, I was working in Los Angeles after I grew up here in the Valley, and I was playing baseball in the Midwest, trying to chase that dream for a while. Afterwards, I got a job with an alcohol distributor in Los Angeles. There was a very small amount of wine in the portfolio, and it was then where I fell in love with the wine world. So I worked with them for about 5-6 years, just gaining as much knowledge as I can in the industry, how to grow brands and take brands to market. Then I started asking a lot of questions, trying to figure out how can I make my own wine? How can I start my own company and distribute my own brands and grow something for myself and my family? So I ended up making a connection actually with the GM over at Spago in Beverly Hills, and I was telling him what I wanted to do. He said, you know what, I actually have a friend who makes wine, has his own winery, his own plot of land in Paso Robles in Monterey County. I can connect you guys and we can see if he does something for you. So after about a year of harassing this guy and trying to convince him to make wine for me and let him know that I'm serious about doing this, he finally gave me a shot and kind of guided me along the way. And so from that point, it took 3 years to actually produce the wine. And what goes into that is me coming to this guy's name is Chris Miller, out of Monterey County, is me coming to him saying, hey, Chris, I want to build my own line of wines, and I want them to taste exactly how I want them to taste. So we come together and we come up with, break it down individually. So the Chardonnay, like, what do I want this Chardonnay to taste like stylistically? Well, I want very minimal oak influence. I don't want it to be super buttery, although that is popular. I'm thinking more old world wines, right? Think Burgundy, but it's the desert, so I want it really crisp and really fresh. Sorry. So and then we can go along the lines of Pinot Noir is unfiltered. The Cabernet, I don't want it too big and bold. It's a family wine, so I want something for everybody. Paso Robles is perfect for that because it's fruit forward. Something with medium tannins, medium body that everybody can enjoy. So after we kind of nail down exactly what I want it to taste like, Chris uses his vineyards and his resources and his winery to crush, blend, bottle, and once everything's aged and ready to go, I bring it down here to the desert where I'm just distributing to the Coachella Valley.
How did you get your knowledge on what you wanted it to taste like?
Yeah, so I did have a lot of experience through the distributor world as far as getting my education. So I did have a lot of wine education, and then I just asked myself, what does the market want? And the kind of target market that I was going for were my friends and family, the kind of newer wine drinkers that are coming into the market. How do I bring them in? Well, with Chardonnay, it can sometimes be that tartness that can push people away. So we ran it through malolactic fermentation. It's a secondary fermentation that helps soften it up and make it a little creamier. With red wines, it can be that overly tannic wine, right, of which they perceive as this is super bitter. So it's something right in the middle, right? Paso Robles is perfect, big fruit, but not overly tannic that's going to push people away. So although I personally enjoy a big, bold, chewy wine from Spain or Italy, that's not the market that I'm trying to grab. I want something for everybody, to where when we have these snowbirds coming into town from Canada and Washington, when they come in and they want to try something that they can only get here in the Coachella Valley, something that is palatable for everybody.
And sorry to interrupt, but when you have a wine bar or a restaurant, you have to be for everybody. So like you're not too much for like the country club people or too much for the young people. You have to be somewhere in the middle. So it's the same thing that he did with his wines.
So we're doing the Camden Chardonnay, Monterey County?
Yes.
2021?
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful
It is very
nose.
nice.
Thank you.
It tastes like a little bit of green apple on this.
Yeah.
Be really good with, in my opinion, a little bit of pesto.
Yeah.
Tell me
I
a little
agree.
bit more about the wine.
So the Chardonnay, again, I was going for more kind of like old world French style, right? California likes to really have wines that are heavily oak influenced. So our kind of philosophy is more letting the grapes do the work. So there's very minimal oak influence. So you're not going to get a lot of butter. It's the desert, right? It's really hot out here. This is where it's being distributed. Really fresh, really bright, good acidity. And that's kind of the style I was going for.
Porch pounder.
Yeah.
Open this up, just drink the entire bottle all summer
wine.
long. You know,
Yeah,
just
easy drinking.
and it would be great with food.
Cheers
but-
to that.
Yeah.
Cheers. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. All right, we're going to take a little break and come right back and talk about more of the wines. And
Very good. We'll be back in just a flash and wrap this baby up. Tell people how to get a hold of these guys.
Yep.
And we'll be back in just a flash.
If you want to know more about Inside the Bunghole, join us on all our social media platforms. You can get a revisit and view all the latest posts, giveaways, and information on this podcast. Simply search Inside the Bunghole on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. We would love to hear from you. Or you can email us at insidethebunghole@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in, and visit our website at insidethebunghole.buzzsprout.com, where you can always find our latest podcast and past episodes. Cheers!
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, we're back. Welcome back. 2023. We're kicking off this beautiful new year with one of my favorite persons in the desert.
In the
in
world.
your
In the
bunghole.
world.
Not my
In
bunghole.
his
Wow.
bunghole.
Wow.
In your bunghole.
Wow. It's really intoxicating.
Herman from LaFay, which is one of our favorite haunts.
Thank you, thank you.
Herman, when you stock your wines, when you look for wines to put in here, because you don't have a huge space, what kind of wines are you looking for? What do you
It depends, and I have two different areas where. So by the glass, we have like a formula. We have to fill every spot of what everybody drinks, but by the bottle, Richard and I try every single wine that comes to this place. So, and we have completely different palates. So we both have to agree on the wine. So we always look for something well priced. Sometimes good deals, like if they're having a good deal. If it's what our customers like, and it has to taste good, obviously, but it has to be well rounded. And so we have about I would say probably like 80 to 100 by the glass, and then we have maybe another 300 by the bottle. Yeah.
What do you think your kinkiest bottle of wine that you're currently selling right now is on your shelf?
That you're kind of excited about.
Yeah, that like so far beyond what you and Rich would ever want to.
So one of the things that's been exciting me lately, it's Chilean wines. They've got the price is really good. The wine is excellent. I think we have a 93-point Cabernet from Chile that every single time somebody is asking me for something exciting, I bring it to them, and it's just an automatic winner.
Tell me a little bit more about how do we get in touch with you? Do you have a website? Do you have, your hours, all that good stuff?
So for the season, our season is winter time. We are now open 7 days a week, 5 to 12 midnight. We do our wine tastings on Tuesdays most of the time. Sometimes we switch it around if we have like a special winemaker come in on another day. Everything goes through my email, which is lafaywinebar@outlook.com. So if anybody wants to be added to the list, please just email me at lafaywinebar@outlook.com.
I know you guys are pretty active also on Instagram, Facebook. Do you do much on Facebook, Twitter?
We do a lot on Facebook, a lot on Instagram. We're posting every single day. We're posting pictures, the food, events, whatever it is at the time.
You're also known for the fact that anytime there's any soccer or international fun sports, this is also a good place to come gather. And
so I grew up playing soccer. I played in college. I played all growing up. My dad was a soccer player. But, just like we create a wine culture here in Palm Desert, there's a soccer culture, and those are all my friends. And when I tell them there's going to be a soccer event, like just now we had the World Cup, we were completely packed because a lot of times you didn't have a place to go, but we were that place. We were at 7 a.m. at one of the games, and we were
had
here.
Breakfast burritos.
Yeah, we were here, and we had a lot of people that were here,
And it was phenomenal.
Yeah,
absolutely phenomenal.
I wish I could share that event with everybody, the videos and everything else. It was absolutely phenomenal.
But you can probably go back and look on some of the Instagram.
Yeah,
go back and look at some of the posts.
I'm really proud of that. I'm really, really proud of that.
Do you think wine drinkers now are as snobby as they might have been or perceived to have been 20 years ago?
I think overall wine is pretentious, right?
You think it is.
Yeah.
I mean, we always have the swirl and and sometimes people shy away from that because they think it's a whole other club.
But I think that, like after COVID, wine sales grew a lot, and so people are starting to, because they drink it all the time, they're starting to understand what it's like to the wine business. They understand it. They understand what. If you go back 5 years ago, like people just say, "I like that." Like,
right.
They don't know if it had tannins or if it had like the structure of it or medium body. They don't know. They're starting to understand that. It's starting to that's starting to grow. The knowledge is starting to grow.
Yeah, I think with the internet too, there's a lot of people on there like Wine Foley, and they're giving you 101 classes and how to approach the wine, look at the color, smell it, every step. So yeah, I don't think they're having second guesses about Yellowtail.
You still get like the douchebags that think they know everything about wine.
Yeah. True.
And they don't. Nobody ever knows about wine.
That's the thing about wine. You'll never know everything. Don, you and James were just speaking the other day about And you left me in the dark about this Wine Folly book. The thing.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a gal and her partner, I forget his name, but they have a book that's out. It's a really nice book, great at any level of wine drinking. And she also is very active on the internet.
Yeah,
tips
she's got a great newsletter. I'm a member of her
Yeah.
newsletter.
I just saw that. Sorry to interrupt. I just saw that on Facebook.
It's
The
a great
Wine
book.
Folly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great book.
Yeah.
No, but
girl,
I saw
yeah.
her Instagram or
Yeah.
her Facebook page.
Yeah.
And I saw the post. They were very educational.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's got a great newsletter that comes out at least once a week. And, I mean, we've bought posters off of her with the different profiles. She's a great resource.
Yeah.
She should be a guest on our show.
She should. So Brandon just poured another
Cabernet
Cabernet. Let's talk about this.
Yeah, so this is the 2018 Cabernet. Unlike the Chardonnay that we just drank earlier, these grapes are grown in Paso Robles.
Not to be mistaken for Paso Robles.
Yeah.
Because I've told people that people have argued with me. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, that's okay.
About being Paso Robles. It's a Spanish word, Robles.
Robles.
Yeah.
Much like you say, Herman
Yeah.
Gotta roll the R's.
Robles.
Yeah, so Paso Robles is a much warmer wine growing region, right? The grape skins on the Cabernet is much, much thicker than the Chardonnay and Pinot Noir grapes. The winery's in Monterey County, but Monterey right next to the coast, really cool climate, which is perfect for Chardonnay and Pinot Noir grapes, but not nearly warm enough for Cabernet Sauvignon grapes. So about 90 miles south from the winery in Monterey is Paso Robles. My winemaker has a plot of land in Paso Robles where we grow the Cabernet grapes. During harvest, we bring the grapes up to the winery in Monterey where everything is done there.
It's very nice.
and
Very,
tell me-
a little
Thank you.
butterscotchy.
Yes.
Oh,
Little chocolate.
Yep. Tell me about your label. Who came up? There's like palm trees, kind of a row of palm trees.
Yeah, so actually a family friend of mine, he would argue that he's a part of the family. He lives up in the La Quinta Cove. He's an artist. He's so talented. Nothing professionally, just throughout our lives, he was always painting cool stuff for us on our birthdays and Christmas. And anyways, I came to him and I said, look, I want you to paint 3 palm trees. They kind of represent myself, my wife, and our little girl. And I told him, look, this is what I want you to paint, but whatever you paint, I'm going to keep the skeleton of your painting, but I'm going to have my graphic designer kind of change it to like this rustic black and white look that I had in mind. Anyways, he laid the canvas in front of me. It was so beautiful that I didn't change a thing. I left
simple.
it.
It's nice.
Yeah, simple. Even the label itself, right? One simple label wraparound. Simplicity was kind of what I was going for.
Trees kind of overlap in one tree. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
not
I was
perfect,
so
it's
impressed.
sloppy
He
in a way.
painted that with a tiny paintbrush freehand on a canvas. It was remarkable.
And I love there's one bigger tree, and then
That would
there's
be
2
Daddy.
smaller trees. No, that would actually be the daughter. She's one. And that tree, as she grows, that tree's going to grow bigger.
Looking forward to trying the new wine.
Moss.
Masvino.
Mosfina.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And as these are the Camden desert inspired as far as drinkability and things like that, do you have a theme or a vibe you're going with Moss Vino?
It was inspired to me by one time I had a wine rep come in and said, "Oh, this is a lineup." They had 5 wines from a restaurant group in Colorado, and I said, "What does that mean?" And he's like, "Well, they own a lot of restaurants, so they hired a winemaker to make all their wines just for the restaurants."
Just for their food.
And then they got so popular that they decided to go and take them elsewhere, but they had nothing to do. They didn't have the name of the restaurant. And it became so popular that it reached me all the way from Colorado. So hopefully that we get to that point. So that was my inspiration for what we're doing, you know.
Very, very cool. Well, if anybody can knock it out of the park, you can.
Well, we're both baseball players, so
There you go.
of course we will.
Grand Slam all the time, eh? Right.
Well,
right.
listen, thank you for taking that big step, 5 years plus, and bringing LaFay to the desert, because it's a wonderful watering hole. It's a place to meet friends, and
great food.
Yeah.
Great customer service.
We're so blessed. We're lucky to have it. Some
Yes.
towns-
But you know what? Let me say something.
Does that kid in Ohio have a place like this, you think? In Youngstown?
No, it's not
There's
at
no
all.
LaFay?
Not at all.
But you know what? But I got to say something. Like, this is built by community. So you guys had a big part of this, just like everyone around us. And, you know, I feel so honored, and I love just to be in front of somebody who admires my place, but they were also feeding this whole plant that's growing, you know?
Well,
And I
there's
do
a-
have to say, they just won the Small Business of the Year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Well deserved. And
And
you
he
prob-
does know his customers. He does know what you're going to like.
Well, you know,
he knows
you-
what I'm going to like.
You build a house.
Something,
one
you know,
brick at a-
sometimes that matters more than being a sommelier.
Yes.
Knowing people
The
is
person, yeah.
knowing the person is a special skill, and I'm not giving myself credit. I'm just saying, like the best sommeliers are not necessarily the most knowledgeable. It's the most knowledgeable in knowing the person.
One of the things I learned in my life about hospitality is you can have the best product in the world, but at the end of the day, it's how you make people feel.
Absolutely.
And you have done nothing more than a phenomenal job of being able to build, just like a house, you build one client at a time, like you build one brick at a time. And you're always consistent. Your staff is always consistent.
But we do it together
As a community,
As a
as a
community, yeah.
team, as...
Should we cue the song? Ain't no stopping us now.
There you go.
All right, we're going to wrap it right now, Pamela.
Thank you, guys.
This was awesome. Thank you, guys.
And thank our listeners for joining us and
And our
supporting
very
us.
first podcast of the year. It's going to be
Yes,
a great year
it's
ahead.
gonna be a great year.
Herman, before we sign off, are there any closing words you'd like to say?
You guys always keep it exciting. You guys always know how to make people feel special, and you bring in this great information to your customers. So thank you.
Brandon, thanks for sharing the wine.
Yeah,
Thank
Brandon,
you.
great wines,
Great
man. I wish you all
wines.
the best.
Great wines.
Thank you very much.
Cheers,
Thank you.
people.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Salud.
Salud. 2023.
Don't leave me hanging.
All right, that's it.
Hey, there.
If you want to know more about Inside the Bunghole, join us on all our social media platforms. You can get a revisit and view all the latest posts, giveaways, and information on this podcast. Simply search Inside the Bunghole on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. Like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment. We would love to hear from you. Or you can email us at insidethebunghole@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in, and visit our website at insidethebunghole.buzzsprout.com, where you can always find our latest podcast and past episodes. Cheers!